You are looking live at another episode of Law and Sporter. You're looking live into the house of Justin Watkins, the hovel/office of myself, Steve Cofield, from ESPN Las Vegas. If you don't know, I can't get the fingers right. And also Adam Hill on the very beginning of his Las Vegas conference tournament run, as he'll be out and about probably 18 hours a day for the next 8 days. He is where tonight? Does anyone want to guess as people pile in? You almost gave it away over your right shoulder. By the way, Justin, how are you?
Everything's good.
Yeah, it's very loud where Adam Hill is. There's some there's some glass behind him. There's a picture of a gentleman over his right shoulder. I mean, it should be pretty easy. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Santa Clara game. Brady. I still believe Ari would have gotten that in more rapid fashion, but he's not in yet. Santa Clara's about the tip. Well, we've got the budding rivalry. You know that, right, Justin? I know you don't live on Twitter like we do.
No. Yeah, Brady and Ari, right?
Gotten very heated, and then we gave Brady some material with Ari, some weird stuff with Ari's eating habits. Ari, it really got into I don't know what a craw is, but it was stuck in Ari's craw, that whole guys. That whole, I guess it's a guy conversation. Because he realized very quickly he didn't fall under any of the standards named by our female podcaster the other night. So we'll have to get to more of that tonight, because Adam had an interesting reading on that too. So Adam is where? Where are you, Adam?
The check got it. I'm at the Orleans, getting ready for the final first-round game in the West Coast Conference Tournament. Santa Clara and Portland. Actually, late news in the game, Steve, because Portland has basically given up on basketball. They're a complete disaster. And their two best players were very questionable tonight, and I thought no way they would play. I thought there was zero chance they were going to play. Like, the way this team is, they've won 1 in 50. One of their last 51 conference games they've won. And I thought they'd just mail it in. They called a pause last week and then decided to play this tournament anyway. But both their best players are playing, so kind of surprised by that.
Justin, can you take over while I go to the betting app, please?
Yeah, right. Yeah, did you, was that common knowledge, or is it, did the bettors know, the sharps know that they were going to play?
Well, the number came down. It was 15, came down to 13.5, so I think somebody may have been tipped off a little bit.
Okay. Are they covering?
It's 0-0. So
they haven't started yet.
Yeah.
Well, let me get on the app. What the hell, Steve?
What's going on here? Where's
I got things I want to do too, buddy.
There's no pregame, there's no in play. We're in that purgatory right now. I need a bet.
To be fair, I just liked it because it came down to give me a better number. I laid the number. I bet against the two guys playing. I think Portland has quit, so I went against them.
Okay. Justin, as a voice of reason, while you're trying to bet this, as a voice of reason, just a random question from John Carvelli. Justin, settle an argument. Is Scottsdale a cool place to live?
I don't like Arizona at all. I definitely don't like Scottsdale.
Wow, John, that was quick and firm. That's a guy's guy right there. That is a guy's guy right there. There was no hemming and hawing. Adam, is Scottsdale a cool place to live?
Yeah, I'm the one that made the claim, so yes.
You did.
Now I'm with Justin that Arizona sucks in general, but like Scottsdale's a pretty cool town.
No, I'm out. I'm out on Scottsdale. I mean, what are you, retired?
Oh, Old Town
cool if you're 75 and over.
Old Town's got some sick bars, man. I like it. Oh, and what about Mill Ave and Tempe? I'm adding Tempe to the mix.
No. It's Scottsdale.
Okay.
That's it. Right. Scottsdale was the question.
Oh, that's one town.
No.
What?
Okay.
Tempe is not Scottsdale. Get out of here with that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. One question.
You tried to cherry pick the only redeemable place in the whole state of Arizona. And try to let Scottsdale ride its coattails. No.
Is Boulder City in Nevada a cool place? Yeah, I mean the Strip's right there. No.
Yeah.
Not the same. And you know my biggest issue in Scottsdale, right? Well, there's two issues. One, I ain't highfalutin, so I don't blend in with those people. And two, There's no fucking convenience stores anywhere.
That was our issue. Steve is pointing out one time that we were like, hey, we got to hit a convenience store, and we like left a hotel and literally drove on a main street for like 22 miles and never found a convenience store.
In Las Vegas, it's every block. I'm like, I couldn't do this.
You know the place in Vegas that it's not every block? Green Valley. There's not a fucking convenience store in Green Valley. It's a mess. There's literally one in Green Valley. It's a Shell station on Warm Springs and Green Valley Parkway, and then you're nothing. Purgatory.
Are we gonna dismiss the Green Valley Grocery at Wigwam and Pecos?
Wigwam and Pecos. That's right by my new office. Yeah.
No, that's
not Green Valley though. Is it? Yeah, maybe it is. That's
where I lived when I moved here. Like that's my corner. Legacy Park was when we talk about play basketball all the time. Like that's the park. We've told this story, Justin. If you're around that place, you see it. There's a giant flag at the Green Valley Grocery. And my best friend in high school lived in the house. There's a housing development, like townhouses right behind that. And he lived in like the front house there. And everybody would just call him and say, how much is the flag blowing? And if it wasn't like completely out of control, then we know we could go play.
I think we might be talking about the same place, actually.
I think we are.
The Shell station. The Green Valley Grocery sells Shell gas.
They might. I just know the convenience store part of it.
Okay. I think
you're talking about. Are you saying on Green Valley Parkway?
He is. I'm talking about Pecos and Wigwam.
Yeah, the one on Green Valley Parkway is right by some railroad tracks, right? I think.
Yeah.
There's a shopping center right behind it. So I'm a fan of I think it's a Rebel station, but it's kind of on the border of Henderson and Vegas. It's a Rebel station on the corner of Sunset and Pecos. There's a PT's there. I was around there all. It's by Chris's old place when they tried the Naked City Pizza, right there by all the weed shops at Sunset and Pecos.
Yeah, you know you're in a convenience store desert when you find yourself in a Rebel station.
Yeah.
Last on the list. The one that still charges you a surcharge if you use a card at the pump.
I know. I don't ever get gas there. I think they have some horchata and some fine coffee if you need some late night coffee. That's my corner. Did it pay well? It's my corner because that PT's, believe it or not, was like a feeder for like everything south of it. It seemed like when I first got to town, or like 99, 2000 was not when I first got to town, but around that time, that PT's was very busy. Adam, you remember that PT's is the one that we used to go to with PT's where BT would hang out?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I think I've been to that PT's with you guys.
Possibly.
The Circle K on Lake Mead and Boulder.
Keep it.
Is that right by a Little Caesars? I think it's right by a Little Caesars. It's not bad. I frequented that place before too.
I don't stop anywhere on Boulder.
No, but that area that you're talking about, like Lake Mead and Boulder, has like that weird service road that I still don't understand.
I love the service road in Henderson.
Well, it's so ridiculous.
Great. I used to go to Terrible's Bowling right down the road. Great. Good lanes. They never freaking oil those lanes ever. Yep. Carvelli.
Are we going to be able to bet this game, Cofield? I don't see it in play or pregame.
I know. It's bullshit. We got the inside scoop on it, and now we can't bet it.
Santa Clara had a 5-point lead. Now it's down to 3. So first media timeout.
Hell.
Dude, it is not the best Walmart in the Valley.
Which one?
It's not the Boulder Highway and Lake Mead one. It's
Yep. It's one of the. That's it's busy. I'll tell you that it's busy. I used to be in there all the time.
The best Walmart in town's out by us now, Adam. Out in Mountain's Edge.
It's a pretty good one.
It's good. It's not too busy yet, comparatively.
It's got a Naked City in the parking lot too.
Yep, there you go. Right.
Maybe I haven't been to that. Is that you're talking about a Walmart at Blue Diamond and Rainbow? Because that's right where what's it called is the other Naked City. What's the name of that bar, Adam? The Chiefs Bar? Yeah, Blue Diamond Saloon.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
It's actually, it's inside. It's an inside thing. We can't even. He's got a Black Friday story from everywhere, by the way. there's a conversation going on in a group text that we're in, Steve, and somebody's sharing breaking news about a friend of ours or an acquaintance of ours. I'm like,
really?
It's not breaking news, but we can't go into it. So I'm sorry to bring this to people on the podcast, but it's,
Can you give me it will a rhymes with give it away to the audience?
No, there's an acquaintance of ours who has been married for a long time,
right,
and is no longer married, and maybe going the very, very young route with the new lady.
I don't think I know about. I'm supposed to know about this already.
No. But I'm saying, like, I knew about it, but I don't think many people did. So I guess it is breaking to some people.
This is great. All right, this is great. Can we go to the private chat? And you guys all wait here. Okay? Justin, go over to the No, I'm kidding. So it's weird right now. Adam, is Russell Wilson in town? Is this another Tom Brady situation? Are you going to get a picture of Russell Wilson and start the rumor mill again and get Derek Carr to call you out?
No. I mean, his sister plays in the Pac-12, so he's here for the tournament.
I mean, that's a likely excuse. I mean, come on.
Okay. Well,
What team does she play for?
I actually don't know.
Oh, what the hell?
I saw like there's
Brady. Ari, go.
Yeah, go find it. There's a Pac-12 account that was like, "What a great brother Russell Wilson is, here to watch his sister play in the tournament." I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know she did. I would assume maybe Washington or Washington State. I don't know.
Stanford, Brady says.
Okay, there you go.
Is she good?
No idea. I don't even know
Brady, give us the stat line. What's going on here?
I know
Fucking
Stanford.
producers, man. Nobody can get us any information over here.
All right. All day long, Justin, all day long.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. We'll get to all the legal stuff here in a second. Adam, did you see the link? Actually, you know what? I'll ask Justin. Justin, would you be surprised if TJ Otzelberger bails on UNLV after 2 years?
For a better job?
Yes.
I'd be a little surprised by that.
Adam, would you be surprised?
No.
All right.
Not at all.
I just don't think he'd done. No, I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised that he would be willing to leave. I'd be surprised that he's being offered a better job.
Adam, is it surprising?
No. I mean, it would be if there was like no connection, if there was like no history, if all of a sudden, like Duke opened or something, they were like, yeah, we're going for TJ Otzelberger. Yeah, but he has very, very strong connection with Iowa State, and I think that that's always kind of been a flirtation. He's got that's where he met his wife, and there's a longtime assistant. He's got strong ties to the program, the community, everything there. So when that job opens, I have no doubt he'll be a top candidate.
I think a lot of Rebel fans, I don't know how Rebel fans would react. Would they be shocked? Would they be angry? Would they be relieved? Might be a little bit of all of that from different fans. So it'd be interesting.
I mean, I'm sure Iowa State fans will be like, what the hell?
Right.
UNLV fans, I think, would be stunned. They'd be like, oh, go ahead, good riddance, take him, I think, which is kind of silly because I do think now he had the phrasing is going to be bad on this, but he did have one unbelievable piece of bad luck here at UNLV. And, he's essentially on the verge of having a borderline top 25 program, and all of a sudden, your potential future star player can no longer come to school. So it's not luck. It's not bad luck that happened, but it's bad luck for him as a coach that, bad luck for him as a coach that he has to go through that.
And so it starts. Already, the rumors. All right, well, nothing's happened yet. He just popped up on a ESPN.com list of candidates from a guy named Jeff Borzello. And then I saw that Bischoff had repurposed it for his new website. So it's out there again. We talked about it a few weeks ago, and I think a lot of people were like, that's ridiculous. I can't believe we're talking about this. Okay. Yeah. And I think, Jim, I think you're right. I think they are 2-19, and they're still winless in the Big 12, right, Adam? What are they, going 16, something like that?
Yeah. It's been a really, really ugly year for sure.
Yeah.
No question about it. So, and again, I think a lot of programs are going to look and say, well, it's COVID, and what are you going to do? But everybody had to deal with it. So,
all right. Well, let's jump into some of the legal and political stuff here. Justin, Robert is our guy who's down in Robert. You're in San Antonio, right? So Robert he moved down to Texas a short time ago. Says he survived the storm, but I'm not sure I'll survive the wild west with no masks. Just give me your thoughts on Texas opening up, especially since the vaccine really hasn't been very widespread in Texas yet.
Yeah, I've struggled with this topic at times to try to find what I think is a balanced and reasoned approach to making policy in these situations. I would say if I was the governor of Texas or Nevada, I know more about, so let's just say I was Nevada, I would not be opening 100% and removing the mask mandate, but I wouldn't be that far off either. Our kids are going to be going back to school. My kids have been in a hybrid schedule for a little bit here. Kids are going to be going back to school. All CCSD kids are going to be going back to school. The strip's open. People are coming in. I heard, and I hope somebody in the chat knows this answer better than I'd really be interested to hear. But I have a friend who works over at the Cosmo and said they're at 96% occupancy this weekend. And so that's not 96% occupancy for the building, right? That they have 50% occupancy restriction, but you could fill all the rooms and be under 50% occupancy because of all the venues and the space. So, I mean, if we're going to let tourists in, if we're going to put kids back to school and all of that, then I don't think we have a reasoned approach to keep ultra strong restrictions there. But the counterpoint to that is you have to be able to provide for the safety of everybody. So they need to be able to have remote options for everything. You got to have access to the vaccine for the most vulnerable population. I don't think you have to wait until the 20-year-olds are getting vaccinated until you open up everything. But I do think you need to get through the 60-year-olds probably. You have to get to people with underlying conditions. In Nevada, people who are actively in treatment for chemotherapy are not on any priority list. I think they should be on a priority list. We got to take care of the people that are most vulnerable, but the way the rollout's working right now, I don't think we're too far away from it. In regards to Texas, the mask mandate was just to require all the public areas and businesses and license holders to require masks for entry. Because he removed the mask mandate does not mean that the companies have to let people in without a mask. They could still set their own rules. They can still require masks if they so choose. So I expect in the next couple of weeks, we'll have some Karen videos coming out of Texas where they're going to be like, no, it's illegal. They told, the governor said you can't require me to wear a mask. And I'm coming in and give me my, my Whole Foods asparagus water, whatever the hell they want. I don't know. But I think Texas is obviously the first to open up 100%, but I don't think they're going to be the last. And obviously, I don't think we're going to be too far behind them. I really think kind of like May 1st in my head is sort of when occupancies are going to go back up to that near 100%.
I heard you talking about this the other day, and I thought it was some of the most reasoned, discussion and like logic of anybody that's applied any kind of thought to this. So I thought that was really, really good, and the same things that you just said. So I was trying to tell people to try to listen to that link to hear you talk about it. But it's also why you're not in government anymore, because you're too reasoned and logical. So that kind of sucks. But you're right. Like, there is when this first started, and Steve started the eternal lockdown stuff and that, silliness, but it was always about like finding the ground. Like, we could have had a lot more things open if people would follow procedures, but like people don't. So you go out and one of my favorite things is like, how are people still getting this if masks work? Well, it's because everywhere I go, people are like, I'm wearing my mask because I have to wear a mask and everything. And then, time to have a conversation. Oh, hey, like it's all the time. You see it all the time. People can't follow it. So like, that's the kind of stuff we see. But in terms of reopening, my thought would be like, okay, you can have your thought you want on the lockdowns or whatever, but they're like, we're so close, as you pointed out. Like, we're so close to a point where anybody that wants to have a scheduled vaccination can schedule one, can start to get it. And at that point, like, if you're deciding not to, if you're making the decision not to, that's kind of on you. But like, we're so, like, however you felt about it at the beginning, and it's certainly worth the debate. And you made the point about, lockdowns don't necessarily work because there's freedom of movement around around the country, and you go state to state, and you can still bring it in, and so it doesn't necessarily work. And you can make that argument, and I'm totally open to that argument. But like, the only thing now is to say, okay, however you felt about it, fine. We're close. Like, why would you do this now when we're this close to the finish line? It just doesn't make any sense to me. That's the problem that I have.
Yeah, I can subscribe to that theory too. And like I said, I wouldn't reopen in Nevada now, but I would, to your point, in Texas, they are nowhere near as close to getting the vaccine rolled out than we are here. It'd be interesting to hear from the listeners right now in the comments about what their feelings are on the vaccine, because from my understanding of a lot of people who are not on any of the priority lists yet, they've just showed up at Walgreens at 6:00 and said, "You got any extras? Nope. Try again tomorrow." And they have, and I know tons of people who are in their 20s and 30s who have gotten vaccinated just by being persistent about it. They made it a priority and they wanted to get it. So I agree with Adam in that, like, but again, by the time May rolls around, anybody who wants to get the vaccine will have had the chance to get the vaccine. And if you choose not to get the vaccine and you want to go be a part of the world, I get it. That go for it. You don't trust the vaccine, but then you take the consequences that come with that. And the lockdowns, to Adam's point, my position is, I don't think that hard science can prove that in the United States, other countries can prove that their lockdowns work, but in the United States, that the inconsistent nature of lockdowns across state to state made any difference in any one state. The trend lines, the peaks and the valleys were almost identical in every state, all across the way, regardless of lockdown procedure. But
we probably need a different word too. Nobody locked down in the U.S.
Right.
There was no lockdown in the U.S.
Right. Any restrictions and certain businesses would say they were locked down and locked out. But to Adam's point, we are so close right now that I think, like I said, I think we're less than 60 days away. So let's just get there.
Because by the way, I'll tell you this right now. Lockdowns do work. They absolutely work. New Zealand locked down. It worked. We never locked down. Like, we didn't. So, I think maybe we should come up with a different term of what we did, but slow down or, whatever we tried to do. And you're right. It was, I think most of the things that we tried probably would have worked. Nobody followed the procedures. Like, nobody did what they were supposed to do. Like I said, everywhere I go, I see people. And I'm not saying I didn't. Like, as strong as I was about it, like there was times when I did the same thing. You're there wearing a mask, and then when you actually come close to somebody to talk to them, then you pull it down. Like, what's the point of that? Now you're not wearing a mask.
Yeah, and let's face it, when you're in a state that was trying to lock down, trying to be more restrictive, people just left the state, went to the other states, and then came back, right? So, to that point, every parent I know right now who's got a kid that's really into sports, and they're saying, Nevada doesn't have any youth sports going on. And they're like, yeah, I know. I'm in Arizona or Utah every weekend for my kid, right? So they just leave, go do the sports anyway, and then come back. So the restrictions, unless it's nationwide, all, inconsistent, we're bound to fail because of the ease of travel. Now Hawaii is a unique example. They have almost no cases there, and they have been very restrictive about travel in and amongst the islands. So that's the one sort of exception.
Did wave to make sure you're awake. I saw a comment I was going to answer there, but the Market LV comment. I don't know if you saw it. Asked about media people and being on the list and being vaccinated and what's the status. I got my first shot yesterday.
What?
I don't know.
You're not 65.
I'm not. I'm free to do it, and I, the way that I kind of went through the process, and I said at first because I had gotten an appointment early on because they told us we were on the list, and then I changed my mind and I actually went through the process of getting it canceled and getting it to somebody that could use it. And I was going to wait until the end, but apparently there's a lot of appointments right now. They opened so many this week that they weren't even being filled. And then and from what a lot of the stuff I was reading and a lot of the experts I was kind of reading and following, they said like part of helping stop this and stop the spread is when it's your turn, go. So technically I'm allowed. Our path was opened on the flow chart, and so I went and did it. And I don't necessarily feel great that I did.
Oh,
I think it is everyone's.
Look what the vaccine did to him.
What happened?
Yeah, don't feel guilty about it, Adam.
hey, you don't feel great?
Don't.
No, I don't feel great. I'm exhausted, but I also haven't slept in 2 days. That could be a factor. And my arm is incredibly sore. It's pretty swollen, but I think that's worth it. I'll take that.
Does it hurt? Does it hurt if you have like big guns, like you're very muscular, like Adam? Does that matter?
Yeah.
That was sarcasm.
Yeah.
It must have been a delay with sarcasm.
It's an intramuscular injection, is what they said. So that it doesn't. I don't think it matters that you have guns or not guns or whatever. But that is where the pain comes from. So like I don't feel it at all sitting just sitting here. But if I do that, that's painful to start to lift it.
Right.
So I did something similar to Adam, because I was a lawyer. I was up in tier 2, and I get it. Like the lawyers are there because there's people who are necessary to get people out of jail. There's criminal stuff and there's judges. There's people who do more important work than what I do, even though I do represent a whole bunch of elderly people on elder abuse, neglect, nursing home cases. I do work with the elderly. But I knew they didn't put us in tier 2 for personal injury attorneys. I get it. But so when my turn came up, I waited until there was a day when they listed out and said there's hundreds of appointments available. And there was a day like that. It was a Saturday morning, Friday late night. They posted it, said there's literally thousands of appointments available at Cashman on Saturday and Sunday for the vaccine. Book it, please. I checked in the morning. There were still hundreds. So I booked literally 15 minutes ahead of when I went down there, got the vaccine, and I was in and out in minutes. It was empty. So
what do you recommend is the best spot maybe to try this weekend? Or do I go early next week, do I go the Walgreens route?
Well, if the Walgreens route was if you're not on the list, that's just based on they will not waste any vaccine. But
Okay.
You're on the list, right? You're a journalist. So Cashman was awesome. Cashman was so efficient, well organized. I got my second dose at convention center because I had to. So I've already had both doses. And the convention center, I literally spent 3 minutes there. I walked in, they said second dose over there. Let me see your arm. Pfizer, bam, done. It was. But I've heard that now the first dose and second dose line is the same line. And now it's like an hour or two long. So Cashman was awesome.
That's where I was yesterday, Cashman, and they said the second doses are all at convention center. So I have my second one scheduled for the 24th at the convention center. So hopefully it's a little bit more efficient by then. But yeah, that's where I'll be going.
Oh, 24th. So you got the Pfizer, the good stuff.
Yeah. I was hoping because it's funny. My mom got her first shot last week, and she got the Moderna. So I'm going to get my second before she gets her second.
Yeah, I got Pfizer. My wife got Moderna, and Well, my wife just got done with chemotherapy in November, so we expected her to have some side effects, and she did. She actually got quite ill after the second shot. I never felt anything. I was good to go. I played golf after I got my second shot.
Wow. It's so weird. I mean, it's obviously there's not enough research on it. You don't know how it's going to affect different people. But I went like 14 hours yesterday, and I was like, I never felt a thing. This is so weird. And then all of a sudden, I was writing last night, and I was like, whoa, what was that? And it was a huge pain. It was crazy. So it was just all the late side effects. I'm at the West Coast Conference Tournament at the Orleans Pickle Gamer.
Robert saying in Texas at the Alamo Dome was a 3-hour queue before I even talked to someone. So.
Wow.
Well, they better get their shit together if they're opening up the state entirely.
Yeah, UFC 260 coming 100% attendance in Texas. Let's go.
We forgot to get to that today. Yeah, talk about that story. March 27th, UFC in Texas, and Dana White. Did he actually say 100% attendance?
He said if it's not 100, he's not going. So, but he said as soon as Abbott said he's opening up, he called, tried to get a venue. Dallas said no, which I imagine is American Airlines. They have the Mavs and the Stars. I can't imagine they would just let some other event come in. But I'd be willing to bet they get a venue, and they decide to go 100%. Now I don't know how willing people are. I'm an idiot. I was gonna say I don't know how willing people are going to be willing to go sit in 100% capacity arena, but it's Texas, so I'm sure they're going to be rushing to get tickets. And it's a massive fight. It's the Miocic and Ngannou rematch. It's also got the but the Volkanovski fight is on there too, so it's going to be pretty great if they really do go. I mean, that's 3 weeks away, and he's planning on trying to go do an event down there, which is nuts to me, but that's what he said today.
Okay, so if it's 3 weeks away, you haven't had your second shot yet, you going to cover it?
Well, I will have mine.
No.
It's 3 weeks from Saturday.
Oh, okay.
It's the 27th. I'll have my shot on the 24th.
So you're good then. Gonna go.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll be there.
Are you going?
I don't know that they're going to go. It depends where they are too. I mean, if they're like in Amarillo or something, there's no chance. But I mean, I know that we still are going to be careful, and we're still trying to follow restrictions and everything, even when we have the vaccine. But I'm pretty good. Like I feel like it's pretty safe. I'm good with it. So yeah. I'm willing to go back out in the public.
Can we start using the podcast room to do MMA podcast once a month so I can get some credentials and start going to these things?
Yeah. Hey, why not?
Sure.
Imagine if they turned it down and like, sorry, the schmo's in front of you.
Yeah.
Schmo. Jesus Christ. An Indian reservation that's a big secret. Yeah, that would be interesting. God, I can't wait to tell that story one day of what actually happened on that event.
Wait, what story now?
Oh, the UFC announcing their Indian reservation card back in April.
Oh yeah, you have to tell that at some point.
Yeah.
Is this right? Are you not fully immune until like a month after?
So supposedly a week.
Well, the crazy thing is the most recent study that came out of Israel. Did you see this one, Adam?
No.
That was specifically on Pfizer. Israel did a study, and after they got done, Pfizer adopted their results, said, we agree. They discovered two things. Number one, that it doesn't have to be frozen at sub-freezing temperatures, that just a regular freezer is good enough to store the vaccine for several weeks. So they're good there. It made transportation easier for Pfizer. And that two, that after 14 days of the first shot, the effective nature of the first dose approaches 90%. Now, they don't know how long that lasts, and they're not saying don't get the second booster shot, but they're saying after 14 days of the first shot, you're in the 90th percentile. So, I mean, I went and got a burger right after that, called it good.
By the way, Fremont Street Experience is pre-pandemic.
Oh yeah.
It is fucking nuts. I got out of there so quick, and like I was like, no, this is ridiculous. Any advice? Yeah, actually, Mexico is far more careful than the U.S. is. So the advice is, yeah, just go there and have fun and enjoy yourself, and you're going to be following very strict protocols.
If you fly back in from Mexico, do you have to have any sort of? You have to have a negative test.
You have to have a negative test, but most the good resorts are testing on site.
Oh, okay.
So, like, the day before your flight, you go test, and then take it with you to the airport.
God, I need the airlines to catch up and just say negative test or vaccine shot record.
So I was actually reading about that today. The European Union is passing that like in the next couple of days. That you can, once you have the vaccine, it's kind of like in your passport, and you can just do whatever you want, and not whatever and I'm sure we're going to follow not too long after that. I mean, as we get more and more results, like you said, more and more studies that are done, I'm sure that's going to be part of it.
Yeah, I want it done before May. We planned our 10-year firm anniversary retreat in Hawaii. We're going to take the whole office to Maui. That was supposed to be last what was it? August. And I rescheduled it for May. It's coming up.
Wow.
May 11th. We're doing it.
What a nice treat. You stole that from Lotus Broadcasting. They take the whole sports staff on a giant vacation No, they don't. It's quite the gesture. Well, we're also in a pandemic, so money's not been flowing in lately,
True.
so I don't blame them.
A side note on the UFC potentially moving that event. Because the fights are exactly 3 weeks apart, the pay-per-views, I know that there's a MMA journalist, way down on the rankings, that lives in LA that used to live in Nevada. And he scheduled his first vaccine appointment for today, and then his second for 2 days before the next pay-per-view here in Nevada.
Wow.
And so he got his first one today, and then he's sitting there when Dana's like, we're moving that next event to Texas. And he's like, no! I'm coming back to Vegas. You can't move it.
By the way, are we cool with that?
No.
That a Californians coming here getting the vaccine before many of us?
No.
No.
That.
Yeah, no.
I told him that.
Get out.
Yeah. I agree.
Scottsdale could be the site for a Lotus retreat.
Yeah.
Like Puerto Vallarta.
Lotus is a very generous company. Things have just dried up a little bit as we found out today with many media outlets. Channel 3, that sucks. They fired 4 people, I think, in front of the camera, and then a bunch of people behind the scenes. So poor Amber Dixon lost her job. So I'm sure she'll land on her feet somewhere. But it ain't over for us in the media. Revenue's down.
The company.
Ad revenue's down a bunch. Make her part of the company.
Yeah, she's good. I like her.
Okay. All right.
Let's start her on the pod. Let's try her. Let's try her out on the pod.
Look at Justin. Justin's like, there are stringent rules to this whole thing.
Yeah, let's get her. Who's on the man's man list? See how she does.
Yeah. Okay.
Credential her and then get her in.
So basically, she's got to get past the gatekeepers. She has to honestly admit that either Adam or I are a guy's guy. And then we're like, you know what? I like your stuff. I think you're pretty good. I think you got it.
Right? Well, shit. Right now, you've got a mustache and a plaid shirt on. You're halfway home.
Yep. And I clearly just love weed. I'm a badass. I got an edge.
Yeah, I don't think that's a plus for that.
I'm sure Amber, after losing her real job after 8.5 years, her first thought is like, yeah, you know what? I want to go on with those guys. That'll be a good regular gig for free.
Hey, Nate, you never know until you ask.
You know what? I'd have to ask permission from the morning show because she's been kind of a regular on the morning show on Press Box. So I don't poach guests, right, Adam?
That is correct.
We're very independent. We are so independent with our guests because we don't cross over a whole bunch that someone in management at our company actually said, Cofield, we operate like we're on an island and that we do it on purpose. I was like, not exactly.
I said, thanks.
Yeah. Like, You're right. Though that's the one thing we got to get better at is being a team player at Lotus. Yes, yes, not team players. Okay, let's get into some legal stuff. Anyone else have questions on Texas and the vaccine? Because this is important stuff with the vaccine. And I have to admit, I was being a real clunt on the air today because I was talking about. I was joking, but I wouldn't get the shot for a while. I'm going to be a martyr. And then to Adam's point, and also what Justin said, I was reading. I forget some story on Twitter, and it was like, hey, you know what? Actually, if you can get the shot, get it done and do your part to end this freaking thing. So stop being a tough guy or whatever you want to do, and go get it. And you guys just described it. It sounds like we've got plenty of vaccine, and like we're actually doing a disservice by not going and getting the vaccine when it's available like this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's days where the line is packed and it's hard to get appointments. For sure, the shipments come in waves, right? But if there's a day that's wide open, I mean, please go do it,
End of May.
All right, I'll work on it, Brady, right after the show. I'm working on it. That's a good question. I think you know what, you instantly are in the running to be a guy's guy if you do your civic duty and get the vaccine.
That's right.
If you don't, then you might be off the guy's guy list.
You know who get more vaccines than anybody? Soldiers. They get vaccines for everything, right? You want to go up and tell one of those guys they're not a guy's guy?
Do it. Get right in their face.
Yep.
You know what? I forgot. This is a good angle. Good question. Casablanca Rick. Albertsons will not require mask. There are a bunch of other businesses that will require masks. Justin, how are they going to deal with this? It was already a big problem. Like I saw that. I think it's CVS and Target are going to require masks. How will they manage? How will they manage that?
I don't know, but I would certainly, if I was a business and my people, the people who work for me had not been on the approved list yet to get the vaccine, then I would still require masks. If they've made it to the level of grocery store workers in Texas, and they have not, from everything I've read, they are still on healthcare workers and 70 and older, then I would, I would make my business so that you have to wear masks until my people can get the vaccine. That's just it. I mean, I wouldn't want to open. It has nothing to do with the legal aspect of things. It's just the right thing to do.
Adam, anything else on this?
No, covered it.
Actually, Adam can ask this one. I think Adam knows the deal on this one. When I was talking about not grabbing guests from other shows, Carvelli said, didn't you steal candy from Bischoff?
What? Was he on with him?
It's actually not the case. Candy's pecking order for work is VSIN first, Pressbox second, Cofield and Company third. So that's actually why Candy hasn't been on the last couple of weeks, because the press boxes needed him. And I told everyone at the station his first priority is filling in on the press box. So
right.
If Ed is out, Candy's in.
Yeah, and that's not a guest. I mean, that's a host. It's kind of different.
But yeah, I'd be kind of territorial about that if all of a sudden, I really wouldn't be. Whatever. Everyone should use whoever they want. But we try not to. Most of the time I am. I try not to. It's not easy to book guests. I'll just say that. And we have good guest workers on our show. So when it comes to guests, I try not to use anyone else's guests. We can get our own guests, and in terms of uniqueness and coming up with things. So I think that's good. All right, ready for this one?
Do it.
What do we got? Michael Jackson. Let's see. Here's that guy who had his foot on Pelosi's desk, one of the insurrectionists, screaming, "Not fair. Man who put feet on Pelosi's desk has outburst at court hearing for Capitol riot." Richard Barnett told the judge that, quote, everybody else is getting out after it was determined that he stay in custody until his next court date in May. Is he being a giant pussy after trying to pull a fucking coup, or does he actually have a case? Does he have a point here?
I think he's got a point. The point, not because of everybody else. I don't care about that. Not because he's an insurrectionist. You know, ultimately, what I'm looking at is the crime he's being charged with. Is it a violent crime where somebody hurt or threatened to be hurt? Him personally, not the whole deal. Him personally. And the answer is no. He didn't. It doesn't appear they're charging him with any assaults or batteries of any kind. It's just trespass. There's other names for it, but basically federal trespass. And as his attorney said, he has a job. He has a family. He's lived in the same community for 20 years. He is not a flight risk, and he should be able to see this case through while trying to be a productive member of society and not be in jail. This is that whole bail theory on things. He's not eligible for bail, but it's the same point, which is we need to look at whether or not people are a flight risk or not, where we're going to hold them in jail before they've actually been convicted of a crime, and weigh that with the risk of harm, irreparable harm to other people. So if they're violent offenders, I get it. If they are a flight risk, I get it. But if they're neither of those two things, they should be able to fight their court case from outside the courthouse.
Adam?
You're on mute.
Yeah, okay. I was trying to unmute.
We were like double muting.
No. So I have a question on each. I'm going to argue each side here. First of all, the not a flight risk thing. Like, in these cases, and we hear it time and time again, and I don't know this gentleman's background or anything else, but like every single one I've heard of these was like, this was not expected. We never thought he was like this. We didn't think he was radicalized. We didn't even know that he was that, out there. And he tried to overthrow the government. Like, at some point, like, yeah, you might not seem like a flight risk, but nobody expected them to do this either. So how do we say, like, he's not a flight risk?
Well, there is a score sheet in most states to make a determination of how risky somebody is. It has to do with family members. It has to do with job. It has to do with financial means to flee. And so they're going to look at a number of those different factors, looks at prior incidents, all those things. And I would just say he's not charged with overthrowing the government. He was not.
Right.
Or attempting to overthrow the government. So that's not the charge. We have to look at what the charge is. Yes, he was there with a bunch of people who were trying to overthrow the government, but they didn't charge him with that. And so if they didn't, then we have to look at what the charges are, and then whether or not ultimately at the end of the day, do we want to encourage more people to be a part of the system, the criminal justice system, or do we want more productive members of society? And if you put people in jail and they lose their family and they lose their jobs and they lose all of their reasons for wanting to live, they are much more likely to become lifelong criminals than they otherwise would. So we are all making ourselves safer by allowing people to keep their jobs, keep their families, and fight their criminal charges from their house, not from a jail cell.
So from the other side, you started off by answering his, it's not fair. Everybody else is getting out. Why aren't I? Claim. Like, why isn't that precedent? Like, why isn't it like, hey, like these people are getting out. Why aren't I getting out? Why isn't that a legal thing?
Only because I have no idea who the hell he's talking about, right? Okay. He happens to be in the federal court in Arkansas with his insurrectionist buddies in Tennessee are getting out now 30 days in. Well, I don't give a shit about that, right? It's not the same courthouse, not the same system. So, and I'm sure that not everybody's charged with the same crimes.
You understand how people look at this, though? Is this the beginning of prison reform and bail reform, or is it just a break for all these people? And moving forward, if you're a person of color, well, you're still fucked.
Well, clearly it's not a break for them, right? He didn't. I think I'm trying to be consistent, right? I have been talking about bail reform for the last 2 years on the show, and why I think it's necessary, and it has disproportionately affected people of color, people of lower socioeconomic means. And if I want to lift them up, the only way I could do that with credibility is to be consistent. And I think, I don't like this dude. I don't like any of them, that ran it in there and stomped all over our democracy like that. I don't. But fair's fair, right? I mean, what's right is right.
It's a good question. Why are gas prices going up? We all know the answer. Biden. What? That's not the reason?
I don't know. I mean, you got me on hunting wolves the other day. You got me on hot dogs and hamburgers. And now I just got nothing on fucking gas prices. I don't know.
I'm going to go Biden.
Yeah.
Seems to be the popular choice right now.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I saw on OAN. So gas prices go up, Bitcoin goes down.
While we gotta pause before I forget, I saw way up earlier in the show, somebody asked me what hunting area I shot my elk in. It was Area 111.
There's numbers?
Yeah.
Is that Utah?
Nevada.
Oh. Is the elk that you shot, is that the logo?
That's a ram, dipshit. An elk and a ram are the same thing.
They're the same thing.
You want to see a picture? I'll email this to Steve right now, and he can put it up on the screen. This is the elk in my cabin now. We got it in place.
It's just hanging out?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you have a satellite in your cabin?
Dish? Yeah, we got Dish Network. Or we got DirecTV. Uh-huh.
Okay, perfect. That's the important thing.
There we go.
You gotta really rough it with, satellite or cable.
Well, I will say that the internet is super slow up there. But Elon Musk and Starship or whatever, Starlink, apparently that solves all the problems. I just got to get it now.
We'll see. Elon Musk keeps crashing planes in Texas, and then people think they're UFOs.
That shit's hard, man.
That's what Baker Mayfield thought was a UFO.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. It started a whole thing.
I just totally derailed where we were going just because I tried to answer a hunting unit question.
It's a fair question. Is elk meat better than deer meat?
Yes. Elk meat is, I'll say this. I haven't had moose, which I hear is fantastic, but elk meat I think is actually better than beef. I think it's the best meat that I've eaten.
I think buffalo was the best I had.
I like it. They're comparable. They're very similar. But elk meat's actually better for you. Elk meat's as lean as chicken.
To Kirk's question, I want to go to the cabin but not camping. Yes, that's why I asked. Just like I like to go to ski lodges but not ski. Like I like going to the places, just not doing the things. The cabins at Mount Charleston have satellite. They're great. Perfect.
All right, we'll have to do a lawn sporter extravaganza up to the cabin. Although I'll tell you, for your interest, Adam, if you don't like to ski, the very best time to go to Bryan Head is during the 120-degree summer here. You go up there at 72 degrees. It's the best.
It's amazing. Yeah, that's the best time by far. It's great.
Ram meat.
It's a little tougher. No, I don't think it's that great.
Andrew Whitworth.
I'll eat it, but I don't love it.
How about
Did you get my email with the picture, Steve?
I did, but I'm working on it. The picture's inverted, so.
Oh shit! What happened?
I'll get it. Brady says Adam just wants to lay in bed with internet in a different location.
Dude, 100%. Do you know how thrilled I am every Saturday to be quarantined at the hotel? It's great. I
It's
love
your
it.
fun pass, your staycation.
Yeah,
You can still get elk burgers
Dog
at
Simulator.
Fuddrucker.
Yeah. By the way, is Fuddrucker? None of the Fuddruckers are open, right? Or are they open without the bar, without the fixin' bar?
I don't know. I only know of one Fuddrucker. It's between me and you, our two offices, the Flamingo and 215.
I'm actually at the Orleans right now. There's one here, but I did not walk by it. I can do it after the show and check it.
Well, Pickle Gamer says it's open.
I mean, what's the point of Fuddruckers being open if you don't have the Fixins bar?
Unless you're Ari.
Yeah,
The joke
Nice.
that never.
nice piece of lettuce.
2 pieces of lettuce. It's
Yeah.
got lettuce variety. Justin, are you as anti-lettuce on a burger as Adam is?
I like lettuce on a burger.
Oh,
That was
hold
one
on.
of, that was one of my 3.
Hold
Yeah.
on.
It was one of your 3?
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
man, thank God Adam wasn't around yesterday. Thank God Adam wasn't on. He fucking flipped out today on Ari with the lettuce. He got so mad as one of the 3.
Well, here's the thing. I'm a lettuce fan. I love lettuce, but like the lettuce and the tomato and the onion are like the generic. Like, all right, that's on your burger. Like, now we have to have real toppings. Like those are just the throwaway. Like if you have 3 to pick from, you're not picking those.
I picked 2 of those 3.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Wait, did
Completely ridiculous.
the one on Grand Canyon and Flamingo closed permanently? Or is just temporary? Really? That one was always busy.
Not every time I went in there, it was empty as all get out. Every time I went in there, maybe I could open the restaurant in their old space.
Too small.
No,
Too small.
I don't think so. No.
Really?
That's a large Fuddruckers.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
I guess I never went to the right of the register. I guess there was a whole seating area that way.
Oh yeah.
To the right of not to the right of the register. No, there's a wall.
Was it like in the back or something?
Just all everywhere off to the left, and it kind of wrapped around to the side there. Yeah, pretty big.
It's a good choice. Swiss, grilled onions, and bacon. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But you made me. You said condiments had to count, so I'm fucking talking about like ketchup and mustard and shit. And now
No,
I
I
got no
didn't
room
say-
for anything else.
I didn't say you had to get a condiment. I said you could use a condiment. You
No,
could go
but
without.
condiments shouldn't even count as a topping.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the original deal was. I just knew Ari was going to F it up and we get to yell at him, so I put in condiments.
If I could do like if assuming I could have whatever condiments I want and put those aside, I would do lettuce and probably something like fried jalapenos on there,
Wow.
and then a cheese, probably pepper jack.
Mushrooms is a good choice too. That was the one that just got left out. Not jalapeno mushroom. No. Mine was bacon, blue cheese, and the garlic aioli. But I think I might switch out the. I think I might switch that out for mushrooms.
Yeah.
Another guys move right there. Very affirmative.
Just ultra judgmental.
Yes,
Guys. Fucking
That's-
snake guy.
that's falling into my category of guy. Racist,
Judgmental?
sexist, judgmental. Yeah, all those things.
What?
Yeah, that was my definition earlier. Steve
Racist?
was
sex?
throwing up. Yes.
Yeah. That's what.
Yeah.
By the way, Justin, that's what Ari was getting at the last couple of days. I know you're not sitting here watching the podcast all the time, but Ari kept putting in stuff, and both Ari and Adam believe a guy's guy is like a throwback guy. So he's a guy who
Archie
really,
Bunker.
like doesn't respect women, is a racist, wants everything. Yeah, it's like a MAGA guy basically.
No, fucking Archie Bunker. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
A guy's guy. It's all about survival skills. That's it.
It's a very this is a very subjective definition.
Not according to you.
Survival?
You're like screaming at me. These are your rules. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, they're
Yeah.
not everyone's rules.
That's what I see it as.
I
think it's- I think it's because, as I told Steve, like when the conversation first came up, I saw it as like Tim Allen.
What? No. Why? Why would Tim Allen be considered a guy's guy?
Oh, he definitely is. Coke dealer, He's got all that stuff.
Why is that a guy's guy?
I don't know. I think it because he was the home improvement guy, and then
Okay,
it was
so he played a character that was the guy's guy.
He plays himself.
I'm out on that. Yeah, MacGyver's the guy's guy. Yeah, now we're talking. MacGyver loved all people of
I
color.
guarantee Richard Dean Anderson's a racist. That's a
Don't
guarantee.
say that.
I'll bet anything. Allegedly, rumors, opinion.
Don't say that. You can't soften that. I guarantee it's like allegedly.
I'm Googling Richard Dean Anderson racist.
You better be hoping Richard Dean Anderson's dead, otherwise you're getting sued.
I said allegedly, or rumor has it.
I thought of that when we were talking to Petro last night. I was actually thinking of sports radio guys. If they're a guy's guy, do listeners put this standard on them? Like Derek just said, someone you can go to a bar with and shoot the shit with. Because I wonder if people listen to sports radio hosts, if they, as they're listening, are they like, you know what, I could hang out with this guy. You know?
My definition is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
A guy's guy don't want to shoot the shit with nobody. They're just trying to get things done.
Get things done. So no drinking. You drink at home. You drink after the job is done, goddammit.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't
Ain't
know.
shooting the shit.
I don't have time to shoot the shit.
That's right. I'm just thinking of like all my dad, my uncles. My dad likes to shoot the shit over morning coffee, like that 5:30 a.m. coffee that he goes and meets all of his ranching buddies with. They all meet at the one coffee shop in the little town he lives in.
Nice.
They have coffee together, talk about ranching.
I actually asked the SO. I was like, "Hey, is your dad a guy's guy?" And she like hesitated. She's like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "I think he's a guy's guy." I was like, "I think my dad's a guy's guy." But it's okay not to think that your dad is. I mean, Adam, thank God we're not on terrestrial radio, so anyone's listening that you might know, your dad's not a guy's guy, right?
No, he wouldn't even try to pretend like he was. He's in town, by the way.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Remind him. I will at some point. I'll wear that Truth or Consequences T-shirt. I'm just still too fat. It's too tight.
That's the other one from like today. I had no idea he was coming to town, and like. As you know, we were talking today about just like the next 7 days to me are just like 20-hour work days. And my dad's like, let me know when you have time to catch. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
No time.
How much time? When do you think I'm going to have time here?
Give me a heads up.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Feel so bad for you, Adam, that your dad wants to spend time with you. Quit being a bitch.
He's a prick.
It's just the bad choice of timing.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well,
That's all.
You literally won't tell the paper, I can't work all of these goddamn tournaments and UFC and the Raiders. My dad's here. Come on.
He's here enough. What do I do? Every time he comes here, I won't even have a job anymore. It's like once a month.
hey,
It's like-
speaking of
it's
all
like
the college
60
tournaments you got to cover, can we do a little talk on Pac-12 and can I get some media credentials for that too? Cool. Let's make this podcast fucking room work, Steve. We built it. I need credentials.
I think we can get it next year. I think this year is going to be a pain in the ball. So
Yeah.
we'll see. All right. How about this story? Former public servant, Vegas guy. We're all Vegas guys. Adam's more closely tied to the story than us. Story that the Sands is out. That's it. Sands is out. They're out of Vegas. $6.2 billion. And they're just going to go, we're concentrating on our business in Southeast Asia. What do you think, Justin? Is this terrible for Vegas?
I don't know, man. I always appreciated that they kept the Las Vegas and Las Vegas Sands and that the headquarters were here, even though I know they don't make most of their money here. Not even. They make less than 10% of their money in Vegas. So I guess as a local, I was a little sad to see that takes place, but I understand from a business standpoint what it is. Yeah, I guess it mattered to me. It mattered.
Adam?
They're such an iconic institution of owners
Oh God.
They're wonderful, wonderful
Fucking guy.
people. And you know what? I'm sad that they're gone, but I'm sure they made the best decision for them.
You're not going to say it, so I guess I'll ask Justin. There's got to be a thought at the newspaper that you're next, because I really don't see the purpose of the Adelsons owning the paper. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I think most of this was for, some sort of a propaganda arm. I'm not saying the RJ delivered on that, but if the Adelson family's out of Vegas, why would they continue to own the local paper?
Oh, I'll say they delivered on it. How many stories do we see about the Las Vegas Convention Center and the violations and abuses of power fucking reported every goddamn week for the last 3 years? Like, that just happened to become the most salacious story in all of Las Vegas. Like, come on. They fucking delivered on it. They did exactly what they were about to do.
Are you talking? You're cutting out there. I couldn't really hear anything that you were saying. So.
No, I know. I know. I was just talking to
You
Steve.
still there? Okay. It's good.
I won't force Adam to answer that, but if I were at the paper, I'd be a little worried.
Or I'd be eager. What are you talking about? I'd be like, maybe this is going to be good. Maybe we're going to get some people who don't have conspiracy theorists fucking writing columns for the newspaper that are the rightest of right-wing things that have ever been said and put in print. Maybe we're going to be normal.
Hypothetically, it would be a very bad thing if the paper got sold for me.
Yes.
So hypothetically,
that wouldn't be good.
They're very, very good owners. That's honest. That's not propaganda.
No, they spend, and most people in media are not spending now.
Yeah.
Any clue, Adam? Last time it was sold, what did they buy it for? Did they 150?
I thought it was
41.
There you go. Yeah.
141, and what was the previous purchase? Like 102?
No, like 90, 91.
90.
Like
So they paid $50 million more than the previous owner had paid. All right. AJ, we get it. We get it. Someone has their paycheck delivered by newspaper.
Settle down, AJ.
You don't have to rub salt in the wound. Pretty obvious what's going on. We were being subtle about it, dude. We were kind of dancing around it, not fucking smashing Adam in the face over it.
I got no results when I Googled Richard Dean Anderson as a racist.
Wow.
Did you get any result? Is he still alive?
Yeah, he just because people were making fun of him because recently his car broke down and he had no idea what to do. So they were like, "Come on, MacGyver." Yeah, he's not really MacGyver.
See, he's not a guy's guide. He's not a racist. Your theory still holds water potentially.
It's true.
Oh man. Yep, not a guy's guy.
I guarantee he's a racist.
All right, Justin. Next story up.
You've learned nothing in our 9 years of doing the show together, Adam.
So allegedly, and I heard rumors.
Yeah, at the end.
Oh my God. This next story is a
What's
nightmare.
happening?
Anyway, the headline is ex-NFL star Kellen Winslow II rebuked in court by victims and judge. Do you have any thoughts on this one? Because he's been sentenced, the former NFL player has been sentenced to 14 years. Any thoughts on this one?
Well, it's a good example of what is known as Marsy's Law. In a lot of states, and it started in California, it has now been passed in Nevada. It was passed in 2017. It is based on the proposition that victims have a right to be heard prior to sentencing and get to be made aware of the status of the criminal actions against their assailants. And so in this instance, the victim impact statements were read in to the record or were given in live testimony to the judge as to the 5 victims of Kellen Winslow. And Winslow had to hear them, and the judge got to hear him before making his determination on the sentencing. The judge said you can only use 2 words to describe Kellen Winslow II, and that's sexual predator. He preyed on the weak. He preyed on the most vulnerable population. And so he sentenced him to 14 years, which is, I think, the least he could do under the circumstances. I think that's appropriate, if not more.
Adam, anything on Winslow? I don't think I followed the case closely enough to really judge. I mean, it's obviously a horrific, awful, terrible thing that he did, and crazy that it went, this sideways for somebody who was so talented. Just awful. But it also tells you, money and success can't, fix, damaged.
Good word instead of crazy. My observation from this was very surface, but maybe there's a deeper meaning to it. I noticed that everyone in the trial, his accusers were on video. Moving forward, could that be the norm? And we can kind of get away from, hey, the defendant gets to face their accuser in court, because it seems like many victims don't want to be in a court and have to face the person who violated them. So what's going to happen moving forward? And if they did that, if all accusers in rape cases were on video, is that our justice system not working? You know what I'm saying?
That's a super interesting observation and takeaway, and I'm a little embarrassed that I didn't recognize that. I mean, this wasn't the accuser. This is the victim impact statement, so it's not the testimony in trial. I don't know. I don't know what the position on that would be. I can see the reasoning behind the right to face your accusers. I do see that. You don't want to make it so easy that it's easy to make a false statement. You want to make it hard to lie and to falsely accuse somebody of something. At the same time, you've got to balance that with the idea of, if somebody's in such fear for their life in making truthful testimony, that they will refuse to testify, and you can't hold people accountable because you can't get their testimony. Is this video ability something that we could use? And outside of like rape cases, like let's talk about mob cases and drug trafficking cases, where witnesses, if you could have them in a safe place testify via video, would that be beneficial for the system? I don't practice in this area. I'd be really interested to hear from people who do and what their thoughts are on it. I don't know. I can see both sides.
All right. Last one. Tiger Woods' possible reckless driving led to search warrant for SUV's black box. There are people out there who feel like this is a waste of time. Why are they doing this to Tiger Woods?
Well, I mean, clearly nothing major is going to happen out of it. I'm sure that the black box is going to have some data on there about excessive speed, and that's probably what they're going to do, is charge him with reckless driving, which is a misdemeanor. But it's not a waste of time. They have the vehicle. The black box is right there. You literally take a computer and you plug it into the black box and you have the data. I mean, it's not like this is going to take a whole bunch of resources and all of these experts to do this deep dive into the forensics of this vehicle. It's literally a USB drive. And then you get the data and you can find out exactly how fast he was going right before he wrecked and lost control.
Right. Adam, you got anything?
Well, first of all, I want to say that Justin, like right away when this happened, was like he was sleeping. And it looks like that's where they're going. Like every bit of evidence that I've seen, every story I've seen said that they suspect he fell asleep. Which, if you listen to this podcast, you were kind of ahead of the game on that because Justin called that right away. I get it, and as just like if there's going to be some long investigation that costs thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and manpower and all this stuff, like yeah, it's probably a waste. But as Justin said, like it's a pretty easy thing to do. You just got to get the search warrant for it. Also, the legal question, I guess, on this, and people were talking about it, is, they never drew blood. There does still have to be some sort of probable cause to make that happen, right? Like, they can't just draw blood on anybody that has an accident.
Right. But they're going to know this. His blood will have been drawn, and there will be a toxicology report at the hospital. No doubt about it. You can't go in. He can't go into surgery without that. So they'll know.
Okay.
What about Brady's question? If they got a warrant for the black box, couldn't they have gotten one for a tox screen for pills, etc.?
Yeah, they could have. But I mean, they make those kind of judgment calls all the time as to whether or not that they think somebody is inebriated or not. They talk to him. I mean, the first officer on site made it sound like he had quite the conversation with them. It went on for quite some time, and he seemed certain that he was not inebriated. And they have the body cam footage of that. And like I just said, the hospital will have done a tox screen before they perform the surgery. Now, that's not as reliable because it's going to be some time away from the accident, but it's not going to be irrelevant either. I mean, if there's something on that tox screen that's at or above legal limits, then absolutely at the time of the accident, it would have been above legal limits.
Adam, can we close it out, or how good is your OT discussion? I think you might have lost us.
Oh, dude, I love this thing. I'm here. You have me?
Yeah, we got. Yeah.
The Ravens proposed this. It's kind of silly. Like, it's not going to happen, so it's kind of dumb to get so excited about it. But I am irrationally excited about the possibility that the Ravens proposal actually works out and they make that the overtime rule. So for those that didn't see, everybody that I've explained this to has been like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So let me try to be as simple as possible. Coin toss happens in overtime. It's sudden death again. Okay? Back to sudden death. Coin toss happens. You win the toss. You place the ball anywhere you want on the field. From 1 yard line, from attacking 1 yard line to defending 1 yard line. Anywhere you want. The other team then decides if they're going on offense or defense. So if you're like, I'll put it on the 1 yard line, 1 yard away from the goal line. I'll be like, all right, I'll play offense then. And if you're like, I'll put it 99 yards away. You have to drive the length of the field. I'm like, fine, then you play offense. I think this is the strategies that this opens up is so brilliant. It's so brilliant. Like, where would you put it? And I've heard people say, like, oh, 50-yard line. I'm like, no, then you play offense, you go score. Like, that's too easy. You have to make it like a challenge in case, the other team wants to play offense, but you also have to make it, like, doable in case you have to play offense. Like, there is so much that goes into this. Weather would factor into it, of course. Whether you're an offensive team or a defensive team would go into it, of course. Yeah, you could kick a field goal at the 1 yard line, but if you put it at the one, the team's playing offense. You don't get to have it at the one. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, I would have to do a lot of work, like a lot of analytics work to find out like the ideal place to put it. But I'm thinking right now I put it at the defending 15, so like 85 yards away. So like if I have to play offense, okay, I can get something going. But most likely the team's going to take the ball, and then you have a lot of field to work with to defend.
No, you go right at the one. So they got to run. They got to go 99 yards.
Then they're going to make you play offense.
No, if I'm going to play offense, then I'm going to go 1 yard line plunge. Right, I'm in.
No. I'm deciding where the ball goes.
Right.
You're deciding who's playing offense or defense.
Okay.
So if you put it on, if I say I'm putting it I'm putting it 1 yard away from the goal line.
We're all assuming we're going the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. For determining.
Yeah.
Like if I put it on the 1 yard line, okay, I got it.
Yeah. If you put it on the one, I'm saying I'll play offense and I'll just score right away. Yeah. And if you're like, fine, then I'm putting it 99 yards away. I'm like, all right, then take the ball and go ahead. Just see what you can do. I think it's a really, really tough strategy to try to figure out where to put it. And I would love to know where people would put the ball. It would be so great.
I think it'd be very team specific, right? Like, yeah, everybody's good.
Yeah, for sure. I love the possibilities that would be opened up. It would be so crazy. Obviously, the NFL is not going to adopt this. So, like, all the people that were freaking out on Twitter today about how great it would be, including me, we're never going to get to see it.
Yeah.
But I would love it. I wish college would do this. Give me some excitement in college. It'd be great. If you have a bad kicker, I'll probably say like the 50-yard line. Go ahead, see if you can kick a field goal against me. Work it down and kick a field goal. If I think you're going to miss it, then I'll get
But
the
then
ball.
you still got to score, right?
Sure.
You still have to then score after that. So that comes into play too, right?
Yeah, for sure. But that's why I think 15. I think you put it on the 15, so you're 85 yards away. And if you want to go take, I'll say the 15, and you're like, all right, I'll take the ball on offense. I'll go try to score. My defense has plenty of room to work with there, and I'm confident that we can get a stop. But if you're like, go ahead and play offense, like it's enough room. It's enough room where you can, you can do some work with your offense. You're not backed up all the way at your one. I think that's probably the right place to go.
Rick says, I think it would be worth it just to hear NFL analysts talk out of their ass. Who would fuck this up the most? Who'd be the biggest simpleton, Adam?
Sims.
Yep.
It's Phil Sims. He doesn't understand a thing about football.
He played the game, dude. Played the game.
It's great. Wonderful.
game.
Good for him. Good for him. I mean, the numbers that would be run by people trying to figure this out would be so awesome, too. Like the ideal place to put the ball. Oh, it'd be so fun.
Same analytics assholes who thought the 3-point attempt the other night by the Nuggets was, the best move instead of taking a layup. Analytics guys, idiots.
3 was right.
McNabb might have a little trouble. He screwed it up in the past.
That's true.
All right, that'll wrap it. We appreciate it. Adam's got to go write a story. Justin's got. Well, we appreciate Justin's time. I'm not going to say our time is more important than your time in the audience because your time is very important. We appreciate you staying up. And I'm gonna go blaze tonight a little bit. What I'm all about. I wear the hat.